Yep, we're all set.
All right, I'll call the public hearing on Bentley Saloon LLC. Special amusement permit renewal.
No, all we did was the liquor license, no, we just gave them the expanded area for the parking lot. They didn't submit this in time.
Anything pressing from the public? Roger or Jack?
Do we have a special amusement permit, or this is a liquor license?
You should have a special amusement permit as well, copy, if not, I have the.
This is a liquor license, I
Oh,
think.
okay, maybe it didn't get copied for the packet, I apologize, I wasn't here Friday, but I did advertise it for a public hearing, and I do have their application, so I'll circulate that around if you want. So it's a renewal of the special amusement permit for their live music, karaoke and dancing. And it runs in conjunction with their liquor license.
It's not in our stuff. Seeing none, I guess I can close the public hearing
Copy of that application, we get to it.
and call the regular meeting to order. We'll start with the public hearing.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dan, you're gonna add, right, RSU 21 update or something?
Yep. D.
And then maybe Susan, public forums next, and maybe you wanna just introduce yourself to, again, and put you on the spot, is that all right?
Well, first of all, I knew I wasn't at a Biddeford City Council because there's still parking out there. And we don't have your cameras and hecklers, so. Yes, I'm Susan DeChambeau. It's hard for me to start saying Senator Susan DeChambeau, but that's the full name now. I'm here this evening really because I just want to get up to date and hear some comments about that RSU 21. So, and only because I'd like to get information a little bit at a time if I ever have to make a decision up in Augusta for other matters. So I appreciate coming here tonight and just listening to what you have to say. Thank you.
Under public forum, can I just, this is my grandson Caleb Aportio, he's here because of the Scouts, but he's also looking for an Eagle Scout project, so if anybody has any suggestions or anything like that, he's got a couple of ideas, but.
I got landscape in these.
For a town project or anything like that.
How about updating and redoing some of the signs? Cemeteries are in, some of them are in pretty bad shape. Haven't been done in quite a while.
We replaced the cemetery sign just about 10 years ago, man, you desperately need again.
Just a suggestion. He's thought about the Little League dugouts, the softball dugouts. I guess that's a good project they're thinking
I
about.
think there's an ongoing project for that. I'm not sure, but I know that somebody is doing the
Little League, I
materials and
think.
stuff.
Little League.
So where that is, I don't know.
Yeah. And that cemetery at like your house.
Everybody that was there when I was there dropped out.
Who's the president of the Little Leaguers now?
No, no one's.
I hate to bounce around, but can I get an approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all those in favor? Anything else from the public? Approval of the minutes. We have 2 meetings, right? Yeah.
There was one spelling correction on April 11th, under D. On the names of our ballot clerks, that was Norma Lane. David Lane's wife, Norma.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Spell check.
Yeah. That was the only thing I noticed.
Under 8C, I had to recuse myself from the Vinegar Hill Fever vote because my
Oh.
first relationship.
On the 11th, was it? Or-
Yes, on the 11th.
Yeah, right here, on the
Page
just
3.
before that, right?
Okay.
make a motion we approve as amended.
Second.
All those in favor? Committee and board reports. Got a planning board meeting coming up?
Still got the 25th minutes.
Oh, we gotta do them individually?
Yeah,
Oh,
actually, I should.
oh, they didn't do them? I'm sorry.
Yeah, my intention was both,
Oh, okay.
11th and 25th.
Gotcha.
Yeah, my second was both.
Okay.
Planning board meeting meets here. May 12th, that's this week. Public hearing, land use ordinance amendments, Seashore Trolley Museum conditional use application. RSU 21 Board of Directors meeting is the 16th. And where and when?
That I didn't see
We'll get
posted
the
on
one,
your
I guess,
website.
They,
And I just realized C should have, that should be May 17th on that, as far as the budget meeting. I didn't put the date, that should be. I gave you a copy of the warrants that's gonna be, on that May 17th meeting.
they usually meet Monday night.
Yeah, the room.
They meet the,
802.
they meet the first, we meet, what, the second,
Right,
they meet the opposite Monday from what we do.
sometimes,
Yeah.
depending on how long. So it's usually at the KES,
Yes.
room A102.
And then Dan, you got a update?
Yep, at the last Board of Directors meeting, Monday, May 2nd, excuse me, consent agenda items. They nominated Lisa McClellan as a teacher of science at the Kennebunk High School. Step 12, $57,687,678 for salary. Nomination of Stacy Knapp as a teacher of English at Kennebunk High School. She's also a step 12, $61,283. Nomination of Emily Egan as a .34 teacher of English at the Kennebunk High School. She's at a step 0, $12,257. Nomination of Francine Bisson as a .5 teacher of French at Kennebunk High School. Step 7 at $24,333. Nomination of Karen Moore as a .5 teacher of IB Spanish. They didn't give a step or a salary. And nomination of Laura Latinsky as a .5 teacher of Spanish, step 0, $18,025. Approval of probationary teachers and approval of the track team overnight trip to MDI High School. They had a discussion on the busing, TAM's cost sharing proposal. If you remember, there was a discussion about whether the RSU was no longer going to pay for the high school busing. So right off the bat, that was off the table. TA has agreed to do that. A few weeks ago, there was a meeting with Biddeford and Saco. They changed the school times, so that has a big effect on the busing. And what it does is it creates an additional bus. So the RSU said, hey, because you changed your times, we're not gonna pay for that. Rudy and the team got together with TA, and they put together a plan to cap it, to cap the cost. So the current cost right now is they had earmarked $180,000 for busing. So what they said is, all right, we'll cap the first year at $93,000, and TA will pay anything above. And then they said the second year will cap it at $122,000, and the third year will cap it at $122,000. There was a lot of discussion about that. There were some members of the directors that felt that all of that cost should be sent over to the Arundel taxpayers, and we should be bearing all of that cost. You know, there was a bunch of discussion back and forth. I brought up the concern of, you know, why is the second and third year more money at cap than the first year when there's actually going to be less students? So, long discussion, and they rejected the motion. They asked them to go back to the TA board and try to work out a better deal. I don't think the first year, the 90K, I don't think for most members that was an issue, although there were some that wanted a whole lot less, but they want to go back and try to, you know, progressively see if we can get it lower. So they're going to go back with TA and try to work with TA and try to see if we can get a cheaper cost for busing. They had a second reading of the budget, and the budget, what they did is, because we had earmarked $180,000 for transportation, and they know that it's going to be less than that. They took $26,000 out of that to fully fund the foreign language allocation. Right now, they funded at 2.6 teachers, so they took the $26,000 out of that and added it to fund it to a full 3 teachers for the foreign language. There's also 5 additional students that have been earmarked or have committed to going to Kennebunk. So that's about $40,000 of tuition, so they decided they removed that tuition. And it's a $43.1 million budget, and they approved for the warrant on 5/17, of which we have here. They also donated $1,000 towards the cost of 3 students who are attending the 59th Conference on National Affairs. That's July 2 to 7 in North Carolina. Committee reports, they had a policy of the visitors to school premises. There was a lot of discussion on that. I guess it's pretty lax right now, and they're looking to tighten things up a little bit. There's a lot of discussion on exactly what is a visitor. You know, if somebody comes in to drop off, if their kid forgot their sneakers or forgot a lunch or something, and they drop it off, there were some members that said, hey, you know, doesn't matter, even if he's not going to class, that's a visitor. So there's a lot of discussion back and forth. For the second reading, it looks like they're going to make some changes to that. Building projects, Kevin will give an update at the next meeting. He's going to put together a whole package of what's going on with all the buildings, and he'll give an update on that. Let's see what else. Strategic plan. They have a draft plan for the strategic plan, and it's located on the website. They did a student survey, and they've got some students that are actually, I think they're 8th grade students, are actually going to put it together. And on the website, there's also a community survey. So if anybody wants to go and take a survey of the RSU 21 strategic plan, head on over to the website and take the survey. I believe that's about it. Oh, they voted on a max price of $4.4 million on the KCS construction, and we had adjourned, I don't know, 9:15 or somewhere around that time. That's it.
Can I add one more thing? I was there at the strategic plan meeting when those 8th grade girls came in with their proposal that they brought in with their survey. And those kids, with the help of one of their teachers, put together the survey, got it out to all the kids in the junior high and the high school, got their replies back, put those all together, and presented that survey very well to the strategic plan committee. And it was really, go on the site and look at the survey, because they did, for 8th graders, they did a fantastic job. I was just amazed. You know, no sitting there stuttering about the survey or anything. Very, very professional, presenting the information to the committee.
Thank you, guys. Mr. Manager.
Yes, and I provided a memo for you tonight, just to provide you some background as to the
to the individuals and groups that I have sent the RFP to. There was several names that were provided to me from the Department of Education, which I sent some the RFPs to that, as well as I reached out to the two companies that had provided services to the town, the last withdrawal committee effort. And then finally, doing a little more research, I found 3 other firms that I don't believe are related to either the town or the RSU in terms of providing advice, and reached out to those firms to ask for them to provide an RFP to us. So if there's anybody I've missed, or if somebody thinks that there's somebody else that we should reach out to, I'd be more than happy to. But I think we may have a good cross-section there to provide us various ways to look at this in the event that the municipality needs to move forward after the June 14th vote.
So these went out to all these individuals?
Yes.
Oh, that's a significant list.
That's all I have at this point.
Thank you. Old business. Write-off as uncollectible personal property taxes.
Yeah, provided in your packet, Helen and I have talked about this, and she was able to put together a list of personal property that, in our view at this point, is uncollectible. Some of it may be as a result of individual passing away and never fulfilling their court obligations to the town. Others, particularly in the campground pieces, were units that have left town prior to us securing costs on that personal property, which I think we've sort of cleaned that loophole up. We have the campground property owners very cognizant of the fact that it's something that we need to stay ahead of.
He's been working with us the last couple of years to make sure that before they pull out, the seasonal pulls out, that they've paid us for the taxes before, and he asked them for a copy of the receipt or something, so that he's been working with us a lot better. And Red Apple is the same way, they've been working with us. Because once they leave, you can't.
So now it's a, normally the campers pay that, or once they leave, is the campground is responsible, right?
Not really, no, it's billed, usually most of the personal property that's billed is if the trailer is there as a seasonal and it's left there, like April 1st is there throughout the winter, and sometimes some of it is their, what do they call them, their, decks or 3-season rooms or something that are attached, and those get billed as personal property. If they excise the trailer, they're okay, they don't need to pay personal property, but otherwise if it's there all year. But what was happening is sometimes they would end their seasonal, and a lot of times they'll end it in October, but it's what was there April 1st. So they'll get the bill, and they say, well, I wasn't there that next camping summer or something, but you were there throughout the winter, therefore they owe it for that. So, so he is helping us out with that as far as making sure they pay now. But there were a couple that weren't there, and
So
in the past.
is the bill to the individual camper?
Yes.
So when they're gone, because it says Hemlock Grove Campground, Hemlock Grove.
That was just where it was a
So
camper.
it's
It was a
actually not
camper.
them, it's the camper.
It's the
that-
camper that was there at the campground, as opposed to Red Apple or one of the other campgrounds, yeah.
Yeah. So we're caught up on personal property, right? Do we have any other?
There are a few from still from 2016 and 15. As a matter of fact, I just sent out a reminder notice last week, I think it was, or the week, at the end of April, and a couple of them had still 4 or 5 years. I had 2 accounts that had about 4 or 5 years. So I wrote on there that if we didn't, we would start small claims proceedings. One of them paid everything to date. I'm waiting for that other person so we can clear those 2 off. Other than that, it's maybe a 1 year. Most of them are just like this current year maybe and stuff. And we've had several people, with the reminder notices pay. So it's a lot less. But as far as one of the accounts, the excavating company, we actually had gone to small claims court on that one. We were awarded the small claims, I think Lisa Vargas and Todd had gone to small claims court on that one. They were supposed to negotiate with them as far as, you know, trying to see about settling interest or something. Nothing ever got paid on that, and even with the small claims award, we never received anything. So these have been sitting here for years, and now he's passed away, so, you know, I don't think.
That wouldn't be his obligation anyway, it's his LLC.
Mhm. Yeah. And there's a couple of other businesses who filed bankruptcy, and I would file for the real estate and the personal property, and some of the, you only get a portion of it paid back, you don't get it all paid back, and, you know, those are all closed now.
Anything else with that? No?
You need a motion, right?
Yes.
I make a motion that we write off the uncollected personal property taxes for the amount of $11,633.78.
Second.
Any more discussion on
I just have a question, and probably Tom can answer this. This is an LLC, so how do we know that LLC isn't still in business? Just because the owner is deceased?
You go on the Secretary of State's website, and it'll tell you whether an LLC is still active or whether it's been dissolved administratively because nobody's paying fees, which I think is what you probably find out. I'm assuming.
Okay, that
There
was
would be
my,
no reason to keep going.
yeah, yeah.
No.
That house is under foreclosure,
Yeah,
been sold.
there you go. Mhm.
It's been sold, was
Yes.
bought by someone I know.
that? Motion's been made, seconded. Seeing no other discussion, all those in favor? Nobody opposed. Renewing Bentley's malt spirituous license. Everything checks out?
I've had no problems as far as the code enforcement or the sheriff's department's reported. And I believe the town manager sent that letter requesting what you had asked about for the parking lot area, so that they would leave some access.
Right, that already been sent, and I had a discussion with the manager, reference to that. They indicated to us that they'll make every effort. So I sent a email over to the fire chief to inform him of the letter, plus a copy of the letter, to keep us up to date in the event that issues do happen in the parking lot during emergency situations. At least we're aware of them. We can address them immediately, as well as put them on notice that it's something substantial that we're going to consider next time we look at this request.
I'll make a motion that we renew Bentley Saloon LLC's malt spirituous vineyards license.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made, seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Says-
Any opposed? Remove the special amusement permit. For Bentley.
And that's for the, I don't know if you want to do this for karaoke.
And this is for their Sundays, they do have bands from 1 PM to 5 PM, and then from 5:30 to 8. Wednesdays, they have open mic night, and 7 to 11. Thursday, they have karaoke, they have DJs, 7 to 11. Fridays, they have bands from 8 PM to midnight. Saturdays, they have bands from 2 PM to 6, and then from 8 to midnight. And it's in the main bar area, yeah. That's the application, if you want to pass it along and see the application. Oh, that one?
That needs to be
That-
signed.
Oh, there's a signature block on the bottom, yeah.
Oh.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. I make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Second, any more discussion?
No noise complaints, anybody get, we used to get them, I guess.
We used to get them, I don't know.
The only noise complaint that I received last year was from Hemlock Grove Campground. And I had a meeting with him, as well as I had a meeting with Bentley Warren and his manager in my office. He went down and spoke to him. I'm not quite sure that complaint will ever be exercised to its fullest. I think that that may continue, but it's the
What
one we see.
what was going on? Was it a special weekend that was going on when that happened, do you remember?
He didn't say. He said that there was just his patrons that were in this campground complaining that the music was loud after 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and they could hear it. And they didn't know if there was anything that we could do about it. That was the only complaint that I received.
Now, the band is inside the building, and of course, the windows are open.
Opens it all up.
And, one side of the building is just about all open, but that's the side that faces Route 1.
Don't they have speakers and they have to shut the speakers off at a certain time?
They do.
Yeah, they put the speakers open back,
Yeah.
I got a second, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All in favor? Moving on to new business. Review and approve the annual town meeting warrants.
Let's see.
How are we gonna put this down, fewer articles? Still have 39.
I can do better next year.
Yeah.
So last year was 42.
Yeah,
Yeah,
All right, you
and
can
some
whittle-
wanted it more.
yeah. Whittle it down a little bit every year.
Let's see, recommend. So we pretty much fall in line with what the budget board on everything, right, recommends?
Yeah, I think that those joint meetings are wonderful.
That is correct. All those were voted on.
Yeah.
You folks voted independently, and then the budget committee voted as well on.
There's one, oh no, that was for the meeting on the 14th.
Yes, that was on the third, Article 3.
Were we able to do a housekeeping article to cover things like our Article 39, so that we wouldn't have to wait to take something like that to a town meeting?
I think you could have a special town meeting to approve that, but because we were so close to the annual, we just put it on there
On
as
there, okay. It just seemed,
thing to take place.
Yeah, we talked about that before, but I'm thinking about it, I think it's best when we're transferring interest in real estate,
yeah,
that the community vote on that,
Yeah.
not just us.
okay,
It could be a variety of things we are unaware of that somebody might bring to our
Yep.
attention.
yeah. Well, since there's no development there anyway,
Right.
we actually can't even get to that easement
Correct.
because we have no way to get there, so.
Make a motion that we approve all 39 articles for the annual town meeting.
I'll second that.
I don't know, I have no interest whatsoever in that, but I think I will abstain anyway, just because of that, because it is family.
Tom, you just second?
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, so motion been made, second, to approve. Any more discussion on those? All those in favor?
I'm abstaining.
He's on these meetings, so.
Now, even though I abstained, should I?
I think you can still sign.
Still sign.
You can still sign. Maybe she signs.
What's this, 2 copies?
Why did she extend?
Oh, it's my son. So, you know, just in case, you never know.
It's a separate
It has-
article. It's a
it-
separate article to vote?
Yeah, I know, but it's,
It's okay.
it still has, it's still family.
All right, moving on. Approval for selling town-owned property.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Public Works Department had solicited 2 pieces of surplus property that we're looking to get rid of. One was a 1976 Dodge truck, and the other one was a York rake. We received 1 bid on the truck and 2 bids on the rake. And it would be our recommendation at this point to accept the high bid respective of each one of the pieces of equipment.
How does that go out? I don't recall talking about this at the meeting, we were gonna sell stuff out to bids. Did we discuss that?
Not quite sure we discussed it, no.
So how does the, it must have to go out like, posted on,
Yes.
in the papers and.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
I
right.
know it was in the Bedford Journal, I saw
Yeah,
it.
I didn't see it, but it doesn't,
You don't need a York rake anymore, Russ?
Well, originally we got this thing from the RSU for some. Did a little bit of work to it, cleaned it up. Thought we'd use it to groom the trail. The trouble is with a York rake is that it widens up the trail to the point where you'd have to run behind it with a roller that we didn't have. We tried this thing out
Yeah.
and didn't think the bicyclists would like it very much. So it really never got used. It
Yeah.
cleaned it up this spring, painted it, put it on Craigslist, got 2 bids. I talked to the guy that bid $1,400 on it. He is still interested, but if for some reason he backs out, you might want to consider accepting the next one, deferring to that one if it doesn't happen. But I mean, we get maybe a couple of $100 in this at the most.
You ought to do this more often.
I was thinking that.
I-
Jeremy Luce on the surplus website, we could get money.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion that,
I just don't use it, it's set, sits.
I'll make a motion that we accept the bid for the 1976 Dodge, $400 for Terry Merrill, and we accept the bid for the York rake for $1,400 for a Casey bracket. And if it happens to fall through, then we sell it to the second individual, John Doherty.
I'll second that.
Second, all in favor?
We paid $1 for that Dodge to Kenny Bump, I'm not quite sure we ever came up with our end of the bargain, but, so it's all profits.
All right, you're gonna have to help me with the acronyms, but request for CRF expenditures on the GIS station replacement.
Yeah,
Capital, CRF is capital reserve funding.
Yep, what's the GIS?
Um,
Global, something
Global
satellite or whatever.
Information systems?
Yeah.
That's what the planner uses.
Correct. The reasons before you is that Tad has provided a memo to you breaking down specifically what's happening. We've got our GS mapping all done, now we've got it ready to be loaded. we find that our computer system that's going to be loaded to is deficient. As a result of that, we'd like to upgrade the computer system to handle the new mapping software that will be loaded to it. The total of that from our hardware, our IT folks is listed on the memo to you of $2,859. And the reason it's before you, not only because of the expense, but also the money would be coming from the capital reserve fund that was established for administrative equipment, which has a little over $24,720 in it. So there's plenty of money there, but we need approval from you folks in order to withdraw that money in order to upgrade that system.
So they will upgrade the system, and then once they upgrade the system, it will be able to take this information.
Correct.
Okay. So he'll have everything at his fingertips.
So what about additional software updates? Does this come with any X amount of years of free updates, or?
Not that I understand, no. This would bring us up to accept it. I don't believe there are any updates to it, other than if we go ahead and upgrade or update the GIS software or the GIS mapping again, then it would be there.
This is a whole new computer. This isn't just software, it's a whole new.
Right.
Yeah, how old is that? That computer that's there now is pretty old, ain't it?
Yeah, the one you used to have was,
286 or something?
yeah, it's pretty old.
Yeah, I'm just kinda curious, you know, I mean, I'm all for updating this, and just, you know, next year, if they go to 10.5 or 10.7, you know, how much we're gonna have to pay for that, but I guess that's with any software, but. As it says, the older system is not even compatible, so, with the new maps.
Might I interject a comment? Usually software has an annual maintenance fee, like you're talking about. And typically that's 17 to 20% of the cost of the software per year. So from a budgeting standpoint, you probably should plan on that.
It'd be nice to know if there is an additional cost down the road. I mean, obviously, I'm sure there will be a cost for an upgrade, but.
How often does he use it?
Probably every day.
Yeah, I think, as I understand this, and I'm naive to this, eventually we'll be able to have your tax maps on there overlaid with all your other infrastructure on one set of mapping, so it's easier for people to see it and to understand, plus all your zoning would be related to it as well, so. Right now, it would only be in that particular station up in his office. Eventually, we could have that as a comparable to, how we have the assessing stuff outside, that people could access that and be able to upgrade and look at that as well on their own there, but also access it via internet and contacting the town through that process and looking at it as well.
You wouldn't happen to know, I probably don't, but when the last time it was that we did a software update? Seems to me we talked about something not too long ago.
For this?
Yeah, for the GIS software. I thought not too long ago we did an update, we bought new software, but maybe I'm thinking of something else. Certainly no, not the computer,
It
but.
would have been over 3 years ago, because I don't remember. As long as I've been here.
No, I mean, I think it's well worth it. Just-
Yeah, we gotta get access to this information.
Yeah.
Got it, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, with that said, I mean, I'll make a motion that we approve the $2,859 to be taken out of the capital reserve fund for the GIS upgrade,
I'll second.
software and computer upgrade.
Seconded, any more discussion? All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Signing of municipal quitclaim deed without covenants.
This was one of the mobile homes that we foreclosed on, and I was surprised that when it was sold, it was foreclosed on and it was sold without paying those back taxes. So whoever did the closing on the mobile home didn't do a good job of searching anything, and so it was basically foreclosed on under, I believe the name, I can't remember.
Flavia.
Yeah, Boisvert, and now it's under Grenier, and so the lady walked in and said she wanted to put money on her taxes, and I looked and said, well, we own the property now, and she was like, well, you know, we don't use that mailing address, and I said, well, it's been several years, so she basically came back and it came into, I told her she needed to speak to the town manager about, you know, whether or not we would, you know, allow this, and so she has paid everything back, and it's probably a good thing not to have to deal with the mobile home, I'm sure. So this is basically releasing all of the tax liens and everything that have been filed and proclaiming it to the Greniers.
Yeah, it's very difficult for me to turn away money when somebody's got the check or that wants to give to us, so.
And you know there's more money coming.
I thought it was an appropriate thing to do, but we will need your approval and your signatures so we can.
Wow, that's what the whole thing is.
And that's in Charter Oak, so it's not, it's an old mobile home.
Oh,
You don't
okay.
have any dealing with it.
No.
But this is a piece of real estate, right?
No, this is only a mobile
It's
home,
a
but
mobile home.
we lien mobile homes just like we do
Sure,
real
but
estate.
why is it a deed rather than a bill of sale? This
So
is a
should
piece
it be
of
a bill
personal
of sale?
property.
That's true, we could record it as a bill of sale.
You don't record
Discharging
anything, I mean, you just give them a bill of sale.
But don't we have to record something in the registry to
You just
discharge?
you just discharge the liens or put something on record that says, the liens have been paid.
I'm trying to think if we
But
do.
this, I mean, you don't,
We've done one before that was a bill of sale, but I think we recorded it at the
you
registry
can
to
record
discharge.
it, I mean, you put it in recordable
So,
form, it's fine.
maybe we can do that?
Yeah, because this is a certain parcel of land.
Right,
over-
and I-
Yeah, and there's no land.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. So we can redo it as a bill of sale to discharge those?
I mean, I think you can use similar language, it seems to me, but it
Mhm.
just sort of reflected, isn't,
Okay.
nobody's getting any real estate here, you don't own it.
I'll check, I think we had one way back that we had done like a bill of sales.
So we'll put it on hold and come back with a bill of sale, and you folks approve that.
Tell Mr. and Mrs. Gregor not to be concerned.
Yeah, my email is now coming into, it's
We're
still,
gonna sign in payroll and payable warrants. Need a
So
motion
moved.
for that?
I think that
Motion's
one.
been made.
Yeah.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor? Sign away.
Under other
Yep,
business,
any other business?
are we going to be doing the public hearing for the referendum question at the next meeting, or do we have time even? Would you rather do it for, I don't know about June, when I'm trying to think, I was off the Friday, so I didn't put this in the calendar, but we'd have to get either at the next meeting, or I believe it's gotta be within, I think it was 10 days prior to. So I think your next meeting is when you'd have to hold a public hearing on the referendum.
Right, I think that's what we were I think that's what we were shooting for, unless I hear any
So,
objections, which would be the
yes, I'll advertise
23rd.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm running. June's, actually.
Right, I think it's only a couple of days before the elections.
Yeah.
So it'd be too close.
Yeah.
Right, it's the 23rd.
So we're gonna add the newspaper on this.
We will do that with
Yes, yeah, Simone will do the advertising and the whole bit.
I was supposed to know list of names of people I have to call.
I'm gonna screw you up next week, I'm gonna sit on the other, next time I'm gonna sit on the other side of you.
Yeah. I'll second that.
Second, all in favor?
Easy peasy.
Thank you.
Camera.
Susan, if you want to extend the meeting, come to the next one.